Imagine being born into a family that already knows where to travel, what to eat, how to communicate, and how to survive in one of the most unpredictable environments on Earth. Before an orca calf is strong enough to hunt, it begins learning from the whales around it. It follows its mother through unfamiliar waters, listens to the calls of its relatives, and watches older hunters solve problems that could mean the difference between life and death. There are no books, maps, or classrooms beneath the waves, yet the knowledge survives from one generation to the next. This is the hidden world of orca culture, a world where survival depends not only on instinct, but also on memory, imitation, teaching, and tradition. Orcas are often described as the most powerful predators in the ocean. They are fast, intelligent, highly social, and capable of hunting animals ranging from small fish to enormous whales. But physical power alone cannot explain their success. What truly separates orcas from most other predators is that different families can live completely different lives. Two groups may swim through the same waters, yet behave as if they belong to separate societies. One group may hunt salmon while ignoring nearby seals. Another may specialize in marine mammals and refuse to eat fish. Some herd herring into dense balls. Some create waves to knock seals from floating ice. Others intentionally rush onto beaches to capture sea lions before struggling back into deeper water. These behaviors are not shared by every orca. They belong to particular communities, and young whales must learn them by watching experienced family members. Scientists describe culture as information or behavior learned socially and shared within a group. Human culture includes language, food, customs, tools, and knowledge passed from parents to children. Orca culture is different from ours, but the principle is strikingly similar. A calf inherits its body through genetics, but it inherits its way of life through society. It must learn which animals are food, which sounds belong to its family, which routes are safe, and which hunting techniques work in its environment. An orca is not simply born into the ocean. It is born into a cultural world. In the northeastern Pacific, some fish-eating orcas live in stable family groups centered around the mother. Sons and daughters may remain with their mothers for their entire lives. Several generations travel together, creating a living network of memory. Within these families, older females often play a critical role. A grandmother may remember where salmon were found during difficult years, which channels provide shelter during storms, and which routes lead to reliable feeding grounds. Younger whales may be stronger, but strength cannot replace decades of experience. During food shortages, the oldest female may guide the family toward places that younger animals have never visited. Her memory becomes a survival tool shared by the entire group. This is one of the great advantages of culture. Knowledge collected during one lifetime can protect individuals who were not yet born when that knowledge was first discovered. The ocean changes constantly. Prey moves, currents shift, ice melts, and human activity introduces ships, fishing gear, pollution, and noise. A whale forced to solve every challenge alone would face enormous risks. But a calf traveling beside an experienced mother does not begin from nothing. It grows up surrounded by generations of information. The family becomes a moving library, and every elder carries lessons written through experience. Orca voices also reveal the depth of their culture. They produce clicks, whistles, and pulsed calls. But different groups do not all sound the same. Each pod may use a distinctive collection of calls. Sometimes described as a dialect, calves grow up hearing the voices of their relatives and gradually learn the acoustic identity of their family. These calls help whales recognize one another, stay connected, coordinate movement, and maintain social bonds across dark water. Sound travels far beneath the surface, allowing family members to communicate even when they cannot see one another. To humans, these calls may sound like strange squeaks or bursts of noise. To an orca, they may carry information about identity, belonging, and family history. These dialects are not completely fixed. They can change gradually over time as younger whales copy and modify the calls they hear. In this way, part of the family's history is preserved through sound. When an elderly whale dies, the pod loses more than a body. It may lose a voice that carried decades of social knowledge. Yet younger relatives may continue producing calls learned while that whale was alive, allowing part of the elder's identity to remain within the group. Diet creates another powerful cultural boundary. Orcas as a species can eat many types of prey, but individual communities often specialize intensely. Fish-eating orcas and mammal-eating orcas may travel through the same region while following completely different traditions. Fish hunters often use echolocation to search for salmon. Mammal hunters must be quieter because seals, dolphins, and porpoises can hear their approach. These orcas may travel in silence, relying on stealth until the moment of attack. Their prey preference changes not only what they eat, but also how they communicate, how they move, and how they organize their hunting groups. A young fish-eating calf learns how to locate and chase salmon. A young mammal hunter learns patience, silence, ambush, and how to control dangerous prey. Both are orcas, but each is raised inside a different cultural system. Hunting techniques provide the clearest evidence of these traditions. In Norway and Iceland, some orcas hunt herring using coordinated strategies. Herring protect themselves by forming enormous schools that move like a single silver body. If the whales rush in without a plan, the fish scatter. Instead, the orcas work together to compress the school. They circle the fish, manipulate their movement, and force them into a tighter group. A whale may then strike with its tail, stunning several herring at once. This method requires timing, positioning, cooperation, and practice. Young whales watch the adults repeatedly before they become effective participants. They must learn when to move, when to wait, and how to work with the rest of the team. In Antarctica, other orcas have developed an even more dramatic tradition. When a seal rests on floating ice, the whales cannot simply attack from below. Instead, they line up and swim toward the ice together. Just before reaching it, they dive, creating a powerful wave that washes across the surface. The seal may be knocked into the water, where the hunters are waiting. If the first attempt fails, the whales may change their formation, adjust their speed, and try again. Calves often watch from close range as adults demonstrate the technique. The hunt becomes both an attack and a lesson. The young whale is learning how to judge distance, ice size, wave direction and the movements of its relatives. Along the coast of Patagonia, some orcas perform one of the most dangerous hunting traditions known in the animal world. They deliberately surge onto beaches to capture young sea lions. For most whales, stranding is an emergency that can end in death. Yet these orcas have learned to use the shoreline as a hunting ground. Success depends on understanding the slope of the beach, the tide, the angle of approach, and the exact movement needed to return to the water. Juveniles spend years practicing. They approach the beach, slide into shallow water, and learn how to turn their bodies safely. Adults remain nearby while the young animals develop confidence. This technique is not instinctively performed by every orca near a beach. It belongs to specific families and is passed down through generations. Adults may also help younger whales learn by sharing prey, slowing down during hunts, or allowing juveniles to chase weakened animals. Scientists are cautious about calling this intentional teaching because they cannot ask the whales what they intend. But the outcome is clear. Experienced animals create opportunities for younger relatives to practice skills that would be difficult or dangerous to learn alone. Orca culture is not limited to survival. It can also appear in play and social trends. Young whales carry seaweed, chase objects, imitate one another, and experiment with their surroundings. These behaviors may help develop coordination, but some appear to spread simply because other whales are doing them. In one famous example, orcas began carrying dead salmon on their heads. The behavior spread through the community, remained popular for a period, and then disappeared. It did not provide an obvious hunting advantage. It looked more like a temporary fashion. Such behavior suggests that orcas notice novelty, copy companions, and participate in shared social trends. Another remarkable behavior involves kelp. Orcas have been observed selecting pieces of bull kelp and placing them between their bodies while rolling against one another. The kelp may help remove dead skin or provide tactile stimulation, but it may also strengthen social bonds. The important point is that the whales are choosing an object and using it together in a repeated social activity. Culture gives orcas enormous flexibility, but it can also create danger. A family that specializes in one prey may struggle when that prey becomes scarce. Even if other animals are available, the whales may not know how to hunt them or may not recognize them as food. Intelligence alone does not replace generations of experience. A salmon-eating family cannot instantly become an expert seal-hunting family. The techniques, communication patterns, and social organization required are completely different. This is why protecting orcas means protecting more than individual animals. When an old matriarch dies, a group may lose knowledge of feeding grounds, migration routes, and survival strategies. When too many experienced whales disappear, younger animals may have no one left to teach them. A population may survive physically while losing part of its cultural identity. Human-generated noise creates another threat. Ships, sonar, and industrial activity can interfere with communication and echolocation. For a species that depends on sound to hunt, coordinate, and maintain family bonds, noise can interrupt the very system through which culture is transmitted. Culture may even influence orca evolution. When groups specialize in different prey, they begin moving differently, communicating differently, and spending less time interacting with other populations. over many generations. These cultural divisions can contribute to genetic and physical differences. Behavior may gradually shape biology. One group follows fish, another follows marine mammals, and their societies slowly move apart. This challenges the old idea that animals simply obey instinct, while humans alone possess culture. Orcas are born with remarkable intelligence, but they are not born knowing every call, rote, or hunting technique they will need. They must learn what their ocean means. They must learn when to make sound and when to remain silent, what to chase and what to ignore, when to follow an elder, and how to teach the next generation. Their culture does not exist inside a single mind. It lives in the relationships between family members. Every orca pod is therefore a unique archive. One may preserve a dialect found nowhere else. Another may carry the last surviving knowledge of a rare hunting technique. Another may remember feeding grounds that have supported its ancestors for centuries. If such a family disappears, the loss is not like removing an identical animal from a population. It is like watching an entire library vanish beneath the waves. The ocean may leave no written records, but it is filled with invisible traditions. A route remembered by a grandmother becomes a path followed by her grandchildren. A hunting innovation becomes a family skill. A distinctive call becomes a symbol of belonging. A dangerous beach becomes a classroom. The water closes behind the whales and leaves no visible trace. But the lesson remains in memory. Years later, the calf that once watched from a distance may perform the same technique while another young whale observes. That is how orca culture survives. That is how the ocean remembers. And that is why orcas are far more than powerful predators. They are teachers, students, innovators, and guardians of traditions carried through their families for generations. To protect them is not only to protect a species, it is to protect many different cultures, each with its own voices, memories, skills, and ways of understanding the sea.